Hi, this is Myra with Boutique Paint. We're going to start working on Christmas. Yeah, it's hard to think in August about Christmas, but here we are. I have a 17-inch paper mache tree cone, and I'm going to paint that a green. And then my son found this wonderful yarn at Joann Fabrics. He was I was looking for some yarn, and he came across this and he says, oh, wouldn't this be fun? And yeah, it is. It's got a bunch of different colors in it. So I think it'll make a nice gradient tree for us. So I'm going to go ahead and get this painted up, and then we will start. So my tree's painted and it's dried. And I took a ruler and I marked off 1 inch intervals. And that's just to kind of give me an idea of where I want to end up the next round I go around. You could do it one of two ways. You could do each circle and then cut it and then do the next layer, or you could spiral it around and then move up once you get to the back. We're going to kind of play with it and see what looks best, but I am going to start with doing one round just so nothing shows all the way around at the same level. And I'm using, this is Blanket Ease, and like I said before, it's Joann Fabrics. And I'm going to glue gun this on, hot glue it on. Just gonna do a little dab, find the end again. I'm just gonna start that right there. If you keep your items, I've said this before, if you keep your holiday stuff in your attic, you may want to use a different kind of glue or a high heat glue so that it doesn't melt and disintegrate up in your attic. These little loops just kind of want to spin around on me. Okay, so I'm going to find the end there, then I'm going to give it a little cut. It's funny, we came out, Iron Orchid did their Christmas release yesterday, and it's 96 degrees here. It's really hard, and here I am, you know, in this heat doing Christmas decorations. It's just kind of funny. So what I'm going to do, I did the two ends, but now I'm going to come back here and I'm just going to pull this down a smidge. I think I'm actually going to mark my 1 inch on the front here too, just so I have an idea. Where I might want to be. Come on, glue. It's pulling the stick in, but nothing's coming out. Okay. Just lift that and set it down on there. This side moved up a little bit, so I'm gonna mark an inch again. I think because of it being cone shape, the whole thing wants to slide, so it didn't occur to me that I may need marks all the way around it. So my original plan was just to spiral it. So I'm going ahead and marking kind of all the way around this, my 1 inch. that took a little longer than I was expecting, but still not horrible. Probably about 15 minutes to go around. I did add just a couple loops here at the top. I think I'll put another one here where I just cut the end of one of these little guys off, and just add. And I'm leaving the top inch alone because I think I'm going to add a star on the top, or a snowflake, or a something is going to go on the top. But it turned out pretty cute, and I have tons left. So I could probably do, my guess is about 3 of these trees, or you know, maybe one bigger and one smaller. This is being a 17-inch tree, but I think it turned out pretty cute. So we're going to add some snowflakes to it because we got to, you know, decorate up our tree a little bit. So now I'm going to use the new Iron Orchid Design Blitz mold to make little snowflakes to go on my tree. And I'm using a little bit of mica powder. And I'm just, well, that's a little much, but I'm just painting it right inside. And I'm not going to show all the detail of this, only because I have videos on how to use the powders with the resin. You could also, you know, make the paper clay snowflakes, but I want a little bit of sparkle, and this gives the resin a little bit of a pearl look. I'm getting a little carried away here with the powder, but you just basically brush it in there. And I do have videos showing how to do a little bit more detailed on this. And it's 1 part A and 1 part B, and I'm using the 10-minute quick cure resin. So it usually takes about 10 minutes. Stir that up. And sometimes I'll put some of the powder into this mix. I'm not going to, because the back's not going to be seen on these, so, or at least they shouldn't be. And I just pour it in. And you don't have to really worry about getting all the way to the top on these guys, because it's not going to matter. I mean, you do want the shape of it, but you don't have to get 100% full. Just get to the edges is more important. Okay, I have leftover resin, so we can't waste. So I'm going to just come down here, and I'm going to set my, I'm going to just powder the inside of that snowflake a little bit. And then I'm going to pour some of this in there. And that's going to make a cute little snowflakey flower, it looks like. I also talk a lot about, in my videos, about not having to use the entire mold. You can use just parts of it, like I'm doing here. But if you have leftover, just go ahead, and you don't even have to you know, put the color in it. Just put it in there, because you can always paint what you're doing. Stick and kind of manipulate that a little bit. And I'm not going to paint that because you have only so much time, and you can see it starting to thicken up a little bit. So I think I'm just going to pour that all the way in there. And even if you don't get a full mold out of it, it's okay. It's you'd be surprised on how many times you can just use like some of the pieces to fill in here and there. I'm just trying to see if this will work. I'm not sure it will. I'm trying to get it to the edges, and you can see already it's turning white in the centers here. That's it curing. So I went ahead and pulled out the first batch. I wanted to show you real quick. This is a partial pour, and I'm hoping you can see it. And it's got these little tentacles, but it turned out kind of cool. And that was from this one here. But it turned out kind of awesome. So I will use it on my tree. I'm going to go ahead and do a second pour. And you can see I've got the center of this star or snowflake in a star shape powdered up already. And I think that he is going to be, or she is going to be, the top of the tree. And I will make 2 of those. So this is one of 2. And I'm hoping it'll turn out as great as I think it will. I'm pretty sure it's going to turn out pretty awesome. I do have a toothpick just in case I need to kind of help guide it. And I'm going to go ahead and pour it first. I'm just going to kind of go slow and let it fill up those lines. You want to pour in the center so it can just kind of crawl on its own. And if it doesn't want to crawl on its own, you can take that toothpick and just kind of help guide it to get where you need it to be. And that looks pretty good. I think it's where I want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and pour out the rest of these. And then I'll pour a second star. And we'll start decorating the tree then. And toothpicks are always a good thing to have on hand for this, because it does help you get kind of into the nooks and crannies. If you have overpour like I did here, you can just kind of scoop it off, and once this is dry, you can just peel it off. You might have a little bit of ghosting around the edges. You can just take your fingernail and pull that off. I'm just going to pour the rest of that in that one. All right. So now we're ready to put our snowflakes onto our tree. And I don't want to just glue this to the tree and smush down my little limbs here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a popsicle stick behind, and then I'm going to glue it. I don't know if you've noticed, even though the video was sped up when I was gluing the rest of this, is I burned myself a couple times. And I'm pretty used to burning myself with a glue gun. I have to say it hurt. I don't know, maybe my fingers are getting wimpy. I'm just going to hold that, and that way that stays free flowing. And then I'm going to come, let's see, pick another spot. I'm going to put one here. Don't be surprised. This yarn is so soft, and it feels so good. So if you have any little ones in your house and you go over and you see them petting the tree, you'll understand why, because kids are so tactile. They love soft things. Let's see. So I want to make sure I'm using different snowflakes on this. I'm going to put one there. I'm mostly excited about my top star. I love the way that turned out. It's just so pretty. Even the gold, even though it's not very gold, and I'm not sure why that is, I didn't put any gold in the mix of the resin itself, and that will give it more color when you do that. It's still very pretty. Let's see, where else do we want one? I did that. So maybe here. And you just kind of eyeball it. It would be easier if it was standing up and I could look at it, but since I'm trying to video it, it makes it a little bit more difficult to have it. So hopefully when I stand this up, it looks okay. I'm going to come up here to my top, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the gold one. So it's gold on the back or on the front, depending on your mood. And then if you feel like flipping around, you can use the white one. Just gonna kind of do a little bit of the corners here. I'm not sure how well those might stick to one another, but we'll give it a try here. Just gonna match up, or attempt to match up. Yeah, I'm gonna have to glue that separately. And actually, I'm going to flatten that. Let me see what I have here. Because it's cardboard, just gonna make sure I have my front where I want my front. Right there. So I'm just gonna flatten that tip down, and then that will help glue both sides. It's gonna drip. So I want the white one this way, my gold one back. Yeah, that'll work much better. And then you're just gonna have to keep it lined up and keep it together till it cools, or else you could put a clip there, either a paper or clothespin, or one of those the paper clips that have the, there's a word for them, that open up this way. Just hold it. And you don't have to do your star or two-sided. I just chose to do mine that way. And if you do put the star on right after this has been cast in the resin, and you pull it out and it's still a little soft and pliable, this would probably also help, because then you could probably actually pinch the two pieces together and they'd stay. That feels like it's on there. Question is it a little tweaked? A smidge. So I'm going to go ahead and add a few more, but I think I need it standing up so I can see what I'm doing. But that kind of gives you a feel for how it's going to look with the snowflakes on it. If you have any questions about any of the products seen here or the new releases, you can go to our webpage at www.boutiquepaint.com, and thank you for joining me. Bye.